The question reads, list different ways by which communicable diseases are transmitted. Now let us see the answer to this question. So communicable diseases are transmitted by direct contact with the patient, droplets in air, through contaminated air, food and water, and by insect or animal bite. Now let us read in detail. The agent of transmission first is direct contact. Mode of transmission is by coming in direct contact with the patient, their clothes, utensils and other articles which are used by patient. The diseases which are transmitted through this method are leprosy, chickenpox, mumps, measles, smallpox, eye infections, fungal diseases of skin that are ringworm and athlete's foot. So they can transfer from one person to another by coming in direct contact with the patient. Second is contaminated air that causes airborne diseases. The method of transmission is by droplet infection. Now, droplets are sprayed in the air by sneezing and coughing from the person who is infected or by the germs in mucus. The diseases which are caused are mostly the bacterial and some viral diseases such as diphtheria, influenza, pneumonia, tuberculosis. They affect the respiratory system of the body. Now, polio affects the muscles and it can cause paralysis. Common cold also affects the respiratory system, cough, whooping cough, which is caused by bacteria. Next is contaminated water, which leads to waterborne diseases. Mode of transmission is by drinking water contaminated with sewage or industrial waste. Second is by drinking water from ponds where cattle are bathed and clothes are washed. The diseases which are caused are cholera, typhoid, jaundice, diarrhea, hepatitis, amoebic dysentery, and polio. So, amoebic dysentery is caused by protozoa and polio is caused by virus. Next is contaminated food, which causes foodborne diseases. Mode of transmission is by eating food that is contaminated with bacteria, that is canned food, or by eating food left open and contaminated by house flies. The diseases which it transfers are botulism, diarrhea, dysentery, food poisoning, cholera, typhoid. The next is vectors and they cause vector-borne disease. Mode of transmission is by the bite of female Anopheles mosquito and Aedes mosquito, rat flea, housefly, mite. Female Anopheles mosquito they act as vector for spreading malaria and Aedes mosquito act as a vector for spreading dengue. So diseases that are transmitted are malaria, typhus, scabies, sleeping sickness, plague, dengue, yellow fever, typhoid, cholera, polio. So these are all vector-borne diseases. Next is animals. Mode of transmission is by the bite of rabid dog, monkey or cat and they transmit the disease which is known as rabies or hydrophobia. Next is unhygienic habits by eating with uncleaned or unwashed hands and by eating unwashed vegetables and fruits. The diseases transmitted are typhoid, diarrhea, food poisoning, dysentery, worm infections like ascaris. Next is contact with soil. The mode of transmission is entering through cuts or bruises. The diseases which are transmitted are tetanus and mycosis.